I still remember the day my parents passed away. It felt like the ground beneath my feet disappeared. For years, my parents had worked hard to build a successful life. We weren't just comfortable, we were wealthy. They owned a beautiful house, several investments, and enough savings to make sure my sister and I would never struggle. Or at least, that's what I believed. My older sister, Rebecca, had always been the favorite child. She was confident, outspoken, and knew exactly how to get what she wanted. I was the quiet one, the daughter who stayed out of arguments, the daughter who never demanded attention. After the funeral, we met with the family lawyer. I sat silently as documents were placed on the table. Then came the shock: the family home, the vacation property, the luxury cars, the investment accounts. Everything was left to Rebecca. I stared at the lawyer, certain there had been some mistake. But there wasn't. My parents had left me almost nothing except a small personal letter. Rebecca didn't even try to hide her smile. "I'm sorry," she said, pretending to sound sympathetic. "I guess Mom and Dad trusted me more." Her words felt like a knife. For weeks, I cried myself to sleep. I replayed every memory from my childhood, trying to understand what I had done wrong. Had they loved her more? Had I disappointed them somehow? Rebecca moved into the family mansion and immediately started acting like she owned the world. She sold some of my parents' belongings without even asking me. She hosted parties in the house where we had celebrated birthdays and holidays together, and every time I tried to speak with her, she reminded me that legally everything belonged to her. Meanwhile, I kept working my ordinary office job and living in my small apartment. The only thing I had left from my parents was the letter they had written. For months, I couldn't bring myself to read it. The pain was too deep. But one rainy evening, nearly a year later, I finally opened the envelope. What I found inside would change everything, because hidden within those simple words was a secret my sister had completely missed. A secret worth $27 million. And Rebecca had no idea it even existed. My hands trembled as I unfolded the letter. At first, it seemed ordinary. My parents told me they loved me. They apologized for the difficult decision they had made. They said that one day I would understand. Then I noticed something strange. Several words in the letter were underlined, not heavily, just enough to stand out. Curious, I copied each underlined word onto a piece of paper. The words didn't make sense at first, but after rearranging them, they formed a sentence. "Trust the painting in the library." I froze. The library, the family mansion, had a large library filled with books and artwork. One painting hung above the fireplace for as long as I could remember. A simple landscape, nothing special. Or so I thought. The next morning, I drove to the mansion. Rebecca wasn't happy to see me. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "I just wanted to collect some old family photos." She rolled her eyes and walked away. The moment she left, I hurried into the library. The painting was still there. I carefully removed it from the wall. Behind it was a small metal safe. My heart nearly stopped. I entered my parents' wedding date or date I somehow knew by memory. The safe opened. Inside were documents, bank records, and a sealed envelope. The documents revealed something unbelievable. Years earlier, my parents had invested in several companies that eventually became enormously successful. Those investments had grown into a hidden trust fund worth $27 million. And according to the paperwork, I was the sole beneficiary. The envelope explained everything. My parents knew Rebecca cared deeply about money and status. They feared that giving her direct access to the larger fortune would destroy her life. So they left her the visible assets, the house, the cars, the public investments, everything she could see. But they left the hidden trust to me because they believed I value people more than possessions. As I read their words, tears filled my eyes. For the first time, I understood. They hadn't rejected me. They had trusted me. But there was a problem. Rebecca soon discovered the safe had been opened. When she learned about the trust, she became furious. She hired lawyers. She challenged the documents. She accused me of manipulation. For months, The legal battle continued. Every family memory became evidence. Every conversation became an argument. The sister I once loved transformed into someone I barely recognized. Yet the more she fought, the more the truth became clear. The trust had been legally established years before my parents died. Every signature was verified. Every document was authentic. And slowly, Rebecca realized she was losing. The final court hearing lasted only a few hours. The judge reviewed the evidence, the trust documents, the witness statements, the financial records. Then came the decision. The trust belonged entirely to me, $27 million, legally and permanently. Rebecca sat frozen. For the first time in her life, money couldn't save her. But what happened next surprised everyone, including me, because I didn't celebrate. I didn't laugh. I didn't mock her. Months of pain had changed me. I no longer wanted revenge fueled by anger. I wanted justice. Soon after the ruling, Rebecca's situation began to fall apart. She had spent enormous amounts on legal fees. She had sold assets too quickly. She had made risky financial decisions, believing she would eventually win the trust. Instead, she found herself struggling, not because of me, because of her own choices. One afternoon, she called me. Her voice sounded different, smaller, softer. "I was wrong," she said quietly. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she started crying, not the kind of tears meant to gain sympathy. Real tears. The tears of someone finally facing the consequences of their actions. For years, she had measured success by money. Now she understood how quickly money could disappear. I listened without interrupting, and for the first time in years, I felt no anger, only sadness. We can never recover the years we lost fighting each other, but we could choose what happened next. Eventually, we began rebuilding our relationship. Slowly, carefully, one conversation at a time. As for the $27 million, I used it differently than anyone expected. I invested wisely. I supported charities my parents cared about, and I created opportunities for people who needed a second chance. Because my parents had given me more than money. They had given me a lesson hidden behind a painting, a lesson worth more than any fortune. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't the ones people can see. They're the ones hidden beneath the surface. And sometimes those who seem to receive everything are actually missing the most valuable gift of all. Because true wealth isn't measured by houses, cars, or bank accounts. It's measured by character, wisdom, and the choices we make when life tests us. And in the end, that was the inheritance my parents truly wanted me to have.